everyone! Hello! Welcome back to my channel. My camera is going to die. So we're gonna make this intro relatively short and snappy. So, as you already know from the title of this video, today I'm doing 3 looks with the RawBeautyKristi and PUR palette. I picked this up on the second launch of this because the first one was kind of a disaster through no fault of Kristi's, but anyway, that's not important. I know this palette is limited edition, so I just thought, you know what, I have it. Let's do 3 looks with it. Let's use it and have fun with it, but I'm not going to do like a super in-depth review or anything because I think it's already gone. Like, you know, you can't get it anymore, I don't believe. So I'm not going to sit here and talk a ton about it, but I'm sure everyone already knows, but this palette is double-sided palette, so you have one side that's more neutral of 9 pans, and then one side that is colorful, basically a rainbow palette. I have obviously used this 3 times now. I've used every single shade in the rainbow side, and I've used most shades in the neutral side. The only ones I haven't used are the shades Copper Boxes, B, and Moo Point, but everything else I've used. I've had not a single issue with this palette. I have really enjoyed using this. I think Kristi did such a great job. I honestly really didn't expect much less, to be honest. I've never used PUR shadows before, but I don't know. I kind of expected it to be pretty good. The mattes are pigmented. They're pretty true to the pan color. They're definitely buildable. You can build them up. They're not like the most insanely intense, mind-blowing pigmented eyeshadows ever, but they're not bad. They're well pigmented. I didn't have any issues with them. They blend very well. Like the shades that I'm wearing on my eyes today blended all together with very little effort on my part. They last all day. I don't have any issues with them fading or anything. There are 2 shimmery shades on each side. This one, Cafe Disco, is a lighter pink shade. And then this shade Golden Ticket is, as you would expect, like a light gold shade. These aren't really traditional, super foiled, intense metallic shades. They're a little bit sheerer, more glittery, especially the pink shade on the colorful side. I'm wearing that on my inner corners today. It's very reminiscent of a very glittery, more sheer topper shade. I think it's really beautiful. I don't have an issue with that. They're super shimmery and they reflect light really beautifully, and I'm not mad at it. I really like the colors that she chose. I think there's a relatively good range of depths, and these colorful shades obviously are all pretty mid-tone. There's not one that's really deep, and then there is a white here. She talked about in her video that she put a white instead of a black. I personally don't agree with that decision. I respect it. I don't agree with it because you guys know I love having blacks in palettes. I like deeper looks, and so a white shade isn't the most useful to me, but that's really dependent on personal preference. And I just think she did such a great job. I really, like I said, I'm not going to go super in depth because it's more focus on the looks, and obviously you can't get this anymore, but my overall impressions and whatever, I've really enjoyed this. It was definitely not cheap. I think it was pretty reasonably priced in USD, but it was $20 to ship it to Canada, and I kind of just bought it and I didn't really think about it, but I'm just happy to support Kristi. I think she really knocked it out of the park with this palette. I'm super happy to have this, and this is honestly something that I can see myself something that I can see myself traveling with. Not that I travel, but my camera battery is blinking at me, so let's just get into the looks. Okay, so this is the first look. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to dig into this palette. And I know that I've probably already mentioned this in the beginning, but today we're going to do a neutral look. We're going to do the looks in ascending order of colorfulness. So I'm going to start off with the shade Camelot, which is this beautiful mustard shade. And I'm gonna hopefully try to save my commentary, and I'm just going to put this in my crease, by the way. And as I was saying, I think I'm gonna try to save my commentary for the beginning or the end, just so we save some time, because if I talk through every single look that I do, we're gonna be here for a fucking long ass time, so. Okay, now just to prevent this look from looking exactly the same as the one that I just did, I'm going to take the shade Told You, which is a little bit warmer than the other mid-tone browns in this palette, and I'm going to just put that in my crease, my outer corner. Now that I have that in my crease, I'm just going to very lightly and quickly blend this out with a totally clean blending brush. So far, everything is blending super well. Now to deepen things up, I'm going to take the shade You're Not My Real Dad in my crease and my outer corner as well. The thing about this palette that I love so much is like it's so Kristi, like really, even the shade names, they're so cute, and just like the whole palette just exemplifies her. Now I'm going to take the brush that I used the shade Told You on and just blend out the You're Not My Real Dad shade. No additional product. Okay, so that's all nice and blended, or as best as I can. I'm going to cut my crease. I'm going to do a half cut crease, so I'm going to quickly do that off camera and then I'll be right back. Okay, my crease is cut. I'm going to take quickly a little dab of the shade Told You and run that along the edge of the concealer. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that and run that along the edge of the concealer on my lid as well. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the shade You're Not My Real Dad, which was the deep brown. And then also deepen up the outer corner a little bit more with that deep brown shade as well. So now I'm going to take the shade Golden Ticket. It's this metallic light gold shade. And I'm going to put this on my lid. I'm going to wet this because I always wet all the metallic shades I use. That's actually very pretty. It's not super opaque. It almost feels like a topper shade, but it's really sparkly and it really reflects light super nicely. And I'm just blending the shade Told You again a little bit onto my lid. And I'm gonna take a little bit of that Golden Ticket shade on my finger and tap that on my lid. And then I'm going to take a dab of the shade Camelot, which was the mustard transition shade, and then go over the edges of the shadow. Now I'm going to take the shade My Whole Heart, which is just a light cream, and I'm going to put this on my brow bone. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was going to be light enough, but it looks like it is. Okay, so now for my lower lash line, I wasn't going to do this, but I feel like why not use, I guess, as many shades as I can. I'm going to take the shade It Just Does, which is this really pretty like coral, and I'm going to run that all along my lower lash line and blend it out. I'm going to probably skip through this because we're trying to save on time, but it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing. And now I'm going to take the shade You're Not My Real Dad, which was the same deep brown that I used in my crease, and I'm just going to run this all along my lower lash line, and I'm going to blend it out as well. I thought I was going to put that mustard shade down, but I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to take a little dab of the shade My Whole Heart and just go around the very edges of, like the very edges of that coral, just to blend it into my skin a little bit, but I think I just want it like coral under my lower lash line. And that's basically it. I'm just going to highlight my inner corner. I'm going to use the highlight that I have on my face today. It's this single eyeshadow by CoverGirl in the shade Champagne. I'm just going to pop that in my inner corner. Okay, and that's basically my eyeshadow done. I'm gonna quickly jump off camera, do some liner, lashes, lipstick, and then I'll be done. Okay, so this is the finished look. I don't care. I just don't care if you think this is boring. I really like this. I'm not going to say too much, but this is my first time ever using this palette, and I did really enjoy it. I had honestly no issues, so I'm very, very happy. Quickly in my waterline, I used the ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Overboard. It's like a bronze. I used the Kiko Milano Smart Fusion Lip Pencil in the shade 534. And I used the Nude Sticks Magnetic Matte Lip Color in the shade Freckle. This was a collaboration with Samantha Ravindal. So that is all that I have to say. I did also put a little bit of black in my outer corner. Nothing new. I basically do that again every time I do my eyeshadow. So I won't talk anymore. Let's get into the second look. Okay, so welcome to the second look of the video. Today I'm going to be playing with both the colorful side and the more neutral side. I'm going to focus more on these like warm orangey red tones. I'm going to start off with the shade Dandelion as my transition shade. I'm just going to put that all up in my crease. take the shade Flavortown, which is this red. I love the names in this palette. They're so cute. And I'm going to put that in my outer corner of my crease. This is the shade that I'm most excited for. There's nothing better to me than a red eyeshadow. Now I'm going to take a totally clean brush and blend the edges of the Flavortown shade out. Now to deepen things up, I'm going to go back into the other side of the palette and I'm going to take the shade You're Not My Real Dad again. I used this last time and I'm going to put this in my outer corner of my crease to deepen my crease up a little. Now I'm going to take the brush that I used the Flavortown shade on. I can't take myself seriously when I say that. And I'm going to blend the edges of the You're Not My Real Dad shade out. Now I'm going to quickly hop off camera, cut my crease. I'm just going to do a half cut crease because that's what I feel like looks best on my eye shape, and then I'll be right back. So now I'm going to take the shade Flavortown, go over the edges of the concealer. I'm also going to take that shade and merge that onto the concealer on my lid. And I'm going to do the same thing with the shade You're Not My Real Dad, the deep brown, and deepen up the outer corner one more time. On my lid, I'm going to take the shade Cafe Disco. It's the metallic, like almost light pink. It looks like shade from the colorful side of the palette. And I'm going to wet that and put that on my lid. Take that shade on my finger and pat it on my lid. I'm just going to take a touch more Flavortown and merge that onto the metallic shade again. And I'm going to take a little bit more of the Dandelion shade and run that all along the edges of my shadow just to bring back that like orangey yellow tone because it kind of got blended away. For my brow bone, I'm going to take this white shade called Lumos. Now quickly for the lower lash line, I'm going to take the shade Am I Orange, which I love the name of that shade. I think it's actually hilarious. And I'm going to put that all along my lower lash line, and then I'm going to blend it out. And I'm going to take the You're Not My Real Dad shade, so that deep brown, and use that all along my lower lash line to deepen my lower lash line up. And now I'm going to take the shade Dandelion, which is the same shade that I use as my transition shade, and I'm going to blend that all out. For my inner corner, I'm going to take my face highlighter, which is the Colored Rain Prove My Loyalty Blush and Highlighter Duo. When I tell you, this is the best thing I've ever used. This is the best thing I've ever used, but it's not about this right now. I'm just gonna highlight my inner corner. I will say this shade that I used on my lid, the Cafe Disco shade, did have a little bit of fallout. I do have a fair amount of like little sparkles all over my cheeks. Not the end of the world, but I will mention that. And now I'm basically done with my eyeshadow, so I'm just going to quickly do some liner, put some lashes on, put something on my lips, and then we'll be done. Okay, and this is the finished look. I think this is honestly my favorite. It's going to be my favorite. I just love these tones. Like I said, there's nothing I love more than a good red eyeshadow. I had no issues with any of these shadows either, just perfection. So in my waterline, I used the ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Venus, which is a red. It's my favorite eyeliner. On my lips, I have the Rimmel lip liner in Natural, and then I also have the Propa Beauty Luminous Satin Lipstick in the shade Victress. Oh, and I also want to, like I said before, give a quick shout out to the Colored Rain and Power blush and highlighter duo in the shade Prove My Loyalty. This is me in a blush and highlighter palette. So good. Yet again, Colored Rain has knocked it out of the park. I am not going to bother you any longer with my talking. And let's just move into the third and final look. Okay, so welcome to the third and final look. Also, my camera did not charge, so let's just cross our fingers that we are going to make it through this video, this segment, without my camera dying. So quickly, because there's no time to lose, I'm going to do something that I don't do often. Some may say ever, so we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to start off with the shade Hurtful, which is this blue. And what I'm going to do with this is I am going to put this on my outer third of my lid, but I'm not going and blend it into my crease, but I'm not going to take it like into my crease. I'm just going to keep it like right here. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so now that I have that hopefully as even as I possibly could have it on my outer corner, I'm just going to blend the edge. I'm going to blend it more when I'm done putting all the shadows down, but I'm just going to, I like to blend between each step. So now on another little flat brush, I might take another brush to blend this out because this is pretty dense, but I'm going to take the shade Tribute, which is this purple shade, and I'm going to put that in the middle of my lid right next to the blue. Okay, and now I'm gonna just blend the purple shade out a little more. And I'm actually going to take a little tiny brush. I might take a little dab of that purple and just to blend it out a little bit, just so I get a good blend on the edge. And then I'm going to take a dab more of the blue, not a ton, but I'm just going to try to blend the purple and the blue into each other. I don't want to over blend this, but I just want them to, you know, merge as best they can. Then finally, on the inner part of my eye, I'm going to take the shade Sideffect, which is this really bright neon pink. And I'm going to basically do the same thing that I've been doing, put this right here and blend it into the purple. And then now that I have that pink laid down and blended out, I'm just going to go back and forth. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how like light I'm going with this, with the purple and the pink, just so I can again have them blended into each other. And I actually think these colors are blending super well. Like, this has been a relatively easy process. But I think I'm going to build up the pink a little bit more because I want it to be like pretty bright. And then I'm also fluffing that right, like very much into the inner corner and like in the inner corner of my eye right near my eyebrow as well. And then with a totally clean fluffy brush, very lightly, I'm going to run over the edges of this. I was going to go in with a like nude color shade for my skin tone and like blend over the edges, but I don't think I'm gonna need to do that. These colors are blending pretty well. And I don't want to over blend, I just want to just blend the edges out so they're just smoother. And I might go back in with this, the brush that I used the blue shade on, and blend this out a little bit more. And now I'm going to take the shade Garden State, this green tealy shade, and I'm going to run this all along my lower lash line. And now we have officially used every shade in the colorful side of the palette. And I'm going to blend this out as well. Okay, so that's all nice and blended out. For my brow bone, I'm going to take the shade Lumos. And then for my inner corner, I'm going to take the shade Cafe Disco. It's this light pink shade. And I'm going to actually spray that and then put that on my inner corner, like I said. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my eyes. This actually took way less time than I expected. I'm super happy with it. I'm going to do liner and lashes now and something on my lips. I'm not sure if I'm going to do winged eyeliner or not. I'm undecided, but yeah, I'm just going to finish up my face and then we'll conclude. Okay, everyone, and this is the third and final look. So I did obviously put liner and lashes on. I put a little teeny bit of black on my outer corner, but very, very minimal. In my waterline, I used the ColourPop Creme Gel liner in the shade Swerve. It's just black. And then on my lips, I used the L'Oreal Color Riche Matte Lip Liner in the shade 114 Matting Call. And then I used the Maybelline Power Matte Lipstick in the shade 704 Carnival Brown on my lips. I'm so happy with the way this look turned out. This is very different for me. It's something that I wasn't really sure how it was going to go, but I think it turned out really nice. I'm so impressed. I never thought that I would like a look like this on myself because I always am so like self-conscious about my hooded eyes, but I'm really happy. And yeah, overall, I've really, really loved this palette. I think I'm going to talk about that in the intro, so I'm not going to touch on that too much because I've already talked about it. But yeah, let me know which look was your favorite. I think this might be mine, honestly. I'm so happy. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see from me, and I will hopefully see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Oh my god. Let's just put our fingers together.